Hello to everyone out there. It is July 6th, 2021. Chris, what does that mean? What time is it?
Oh, it's time for our podcast, Dad. It's Insurance Questions podcast time.
And I want to apologize to our listeners because we haven't done one in a while because we're awful busy at work. And summertime catches up with everybody. So we are going to... Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah.
So we are going to start our show off like we always do with our COVID update. Got any updates COVID-wise for insurance, Chris, or anything personal?
I think on the insurance side, again, our company is still writing policies. We're still doing our best to expedite the underwriting process. I had some experiences in the month of June. As you said, we were both pretty busy with on the insurance end, and I had one policy. He was a younger guy. He was 20, but he went through in like 2 days. It was pretty quick.
That's great.
I have another APS information, and it has taken a few weeks. So, it can be, and I hate to use that phrase, hit or miss, but, it truly does depend. And I guess it is nice to know that our company does do but flip side, it's also very nice to know that some stuff can get through very fast.
I have a question for you, Chris, and I know the answer to it, but I'm sure a lot of our listeners know. What is an APS? What do you mean by an APS?
Oh, well, that is when they pull your medical records. They just want to be able, going back, a certain number of years, your visit, they can basically read your medical chart. It gets released, you sign off on it, and it gets released by your medical provider just to see, what your appointments have been about, the fact that, you have been going regularly, which is actually a good thing. And if you did have something health-wise that came up, it could have been anything from the flu or, something that they may have just happened to see that they want to send you for additional testing, and all that stuff is maintained in that record. So when they do pull those, unfortunately, some doctors' offices are very prompt and quick. Some of them, unfortunately, are very large practices, and it takes a little longer to get the actual information. So that's where sometimes the delays come in. But in the end, our company works very, very hard to get those as quickly as possible, and they're very, patient, and, they stay on top of retrieving that information.
I got to tell you, Chris, I don't know how you feel, because I know we were both at the Blue Jays game on the July 4th holiday. And didn't it kind of feel weird not wearing a mask?
It did. The folks that I was with even said the same thing. It was refreshing. It was a little odd, like you're looking around a couple times, and there were people there that did have masks on, which is fine. To each his own. But yeah, it was nice, and I'm a pretty big sports fan myself, and I love going to events live. And it was nice to be able to, go to an actual game and see the fairly decent crowd, which I thought on Sunday afternoon on the 4th of July. And I know you and I didn't wind up hooking up while we were there, but it was a nice crowd. I don't know what the announced attendance was.
Yeah, I couldn't find it either, actually.
Yeah, there had to be, I would say, close to 10,000 people there would be my guess, maybe even a little bit more than that, but give or take, I guess. But it was nice. It was a beautiful afternoon. It was nice to be out, and, and in that regard, it gave me a sense of things getting back to a little bit of normalcy from prior to the pandemic.
Most definitely.
So, that being said, segue in, business-wise, yeah, we're still, moving right along. On the personal side, I guess, it is nice to be able to get out and about and feel a little more freer, I guess, and not be scared. But at the same time, if you are people that like to get out and go to eat, remember to still be patient. A lot of these places are not fully staffed yet, and yet you walk in, there's empty tables, and they'll tell you, well, we can't take you right now. for guys like you and me that are familiar with the business because we've either been in it ourselves or we have family members that are very much in it as in owners and such. You have to be understanding that it's not because they don't want to take care of you, it's that they don't have the staff to do it. So they can only see so many people and they can only send
do so much.
Kitchen. Yeah, so keep that in mind. But it is nice to be getting out and about. Places are seeing activity, and hopefully the workforce will get back into more full swing here. People will be getting back to work, and things will get back to normal. So.
Well, I want to jump into what we talked about before the show, me and yourself. Basically, we're going to change things up starting next week. We are actually going to talk to people that have bought insurance from us. And I wish to God this was my idea, but it's not. It's Mrs. Bednar's. She's home recovering from a knee replacement. So when you ain't got nothing to do, you think about good stuff. So what we're going to do today, though, is Chris is going to be our guinea pig, because not only is he the co-host of Insurance Questions Podcast, but he's also bought his own insurance for himself and his family members through our company, New York Life. And here's I'm just going to ask you the same question that I would ask anybody else. Why did you buy insurance for you and your family? What's the most important thing that you were trying to do, Chris?
Well, as far as importance goes, Ed, and you're exactly right. I have bought it for family members, and I have obviously taken care of family members and very, very close friends. And we do ask those questions. I know both you and I have kind of the same style of selling. We do want to know what's important. So, my very first and foremost thing is can be boiled down to one word, and that's just protection. Whether it was when I bought a policy for my very own daughter, who at the time was only 20 years old, some protection there, God forbid, if something were to happen to her. For final expenses, there was protection against some loans that I had co-signed for her. Again, God forbid, if something were to happen, I would be responsible for those loans. So the policy that we took out covered that. And then it also turned into the longevity. And the other things that were important for the ones that I did for my family were the fact that the value of them grew, both in a cash value and in a benefit value. So it's serving as almost like a savings account, knowing that you have some money that's building up. So again, she was only 20. I use her as an example on the young side. So she's only 20. So first off, it's very affordable, because the younger you are, the less expensive it is. And once you buy it, that's what you pay monthly for the life of the policy. So, let's just throw it out there. I think hers was maybe $25 a month, if that. And it was $25,000 worth of coverage, if I'm not mistaken. And she's only had it a year. And, granted, it's only been a year, but there's already some cash value sitting there after the first year. And the fact that when she's 40, 50, 60 years old, the monthly payment is still going to be the same as when she got it when she was 20. So that is huge. I just sold another one for a family member. They got one for their son. Same idea. So value, huge. The protection, huge. Sense of security was big. The performance that our company has been able to deliver for 169 years now straight, where they've shown a profit for your investment into your own policy. The fact of where we sit at Fortune 500 and where our company ranks amongst the insurance companies in the world, the reputation of our company, that all played into factor. And when I'm actually trying to sell somebody, that's exactly what I also bring up, as part of my selling technique.
Now, can I go back to something that you said, Chris? Because I know the answer to it, but a lot of people don't. What do you mean by you have protection for loans? What did you mean by that for your daughter?
Yeah, she was in college at the time, and towards the end of her her 4-year stint in school before she had graduated, she did wind up taking out some loans. So because of her age and the fact that she didn't have a ton of credit established already, she needed a co-signer for the loans. So I wound up co-signing for those loans. So I do use the phrase a lot, but God forbid if something were to happen to her, the loan would then default to the person that co-signed, and I would have been responsible for paying back that loan, even though my daughter would have no longer been with me because she had passed away. So by having that insurance policy in place, the money, that the face amount, the benefit amount would have more than covered paying that loan back. So there was protection there so that I was not responsible financially for paying that back.
Yeah, I have a feeling a lot of people don't realize that, even though we all co-sign for our kids' loans all the time, that something like that could happen, So you're not only protecting them, but you're protecting yourself at the same time.
Correct. And that's the other part too. As a young person, and I guess we can continue talking about that only because I think that's a huge benefit. I mean, you and I have sold juvenile policies, Ed, for families with children that are literally 1 year old. Sometimes they're not even 1 year old, and people don't realize that you can get life insurance for a child. Once they hit the 31st day of their life, they are eligible for life insurance.
Actually, it's the 15th, Chris. Because I made sure as soon as Emily was born. Lucky enough, I became a grandfather last September 1st. All
right, I thought 30 days old.
And
that's okay.
Yeah, 15
either
days,
way,
and you got to have their social.
Yeah, either way, people don't realize that. And again, the nice thing is when you're insuring somebody that young, you can get a decent size benefit amount, life amount, a whole life policy that over the years is going to build cash value. The benefit amount is actually going to increase as well. And the cost per month or quarterly or annually, however you want to pay for it, is going to be next to nothing. And that's what that person is going to pay for that policy for the life of the policy. It makes a lot of sense. I know it's something that people don't think about, but it does make a lot of sense. So it's certainly an avenue, and it's a demographic that I actually work with quite a bit. Finding out people that have just recently had children or that have had grandchildren, and approaching them and saying, "Hey, have you considered this? And here are the benefits." So,
great gift, Chris. It really is. Especially christenings coming up, birthdays. Instead of buying them a toy, buy them something for their future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the clock on the wall, Chris, is getting close. What did you think of our new format? How did you feel about it?
I loved it. I think, when we do this next week, I guess between now and next week, you and I can find one or two, clients to act as guests and come on and go over their experiences and what their reasonings were as well. So I think it is a good way to communicate to our listeners and, just give them, some other perspective as to why people do, wind up either reaching out to us or when we reach out to them, they decide to invest in a policy. So, yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Well, once again, thanks everybody for listening. From me, Eddie Bednars, and from my co-host, Chris Switek, we want to say thank you for joining us today, and everybody stay safe.
Yep, you as well. Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye now.